Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Yes, this video and Until Dawn, really all the prediction videos this weekend are coming out way later than I wanted them to, and that's because, like last time, I filmed Accountant 2, I filmed Legend of Ochi, but then I just got too tired and I passed out, and when I woke up, it was like 5 in the morning. I was like, yeah, no, I might as well just do the rest of these later. And so that's what I'm doing. So yeah, sorry about that. So today we're gonna be talking about Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, the 20th anniversary re-release. So as usual, we're gonna be going over the pros and cons. So let's get to it. Pros. Okay, Star Wars, one of the biggest franchises there is. Yes, it is very much off its peak, but it doesn't change the fact that Star Wars has a long, long, long history of success. Then all the way back to the first movie, A New Hope, in 1977, which was, I believe at the time it was the biggest movie ever. And, it spawned a whole friggin' just like decades of content from movies and shows to books to games, you name it. Then you have Empire Strikes Back, which is considered one of the most iconic movies ever. It has one of the most iconic twists ever in movies. Return of the Jedi wasn't received as well, but people still generally like it, even though a bit less so than the first two. And then 16 years later, you have the prequel trilogy, which was like the most hyped thing ever, particularly Phantom Menace. I mean, Phantom Menace hype. You want to talk about hype? People went to see, people paid to see other movies just to watch the trailer for Phantom Menace and then leave. Yeah, people paid to watch a trailer. You can never do that these days. You just wait till it's online. But this was like back in 1999. The internet was a fossil. It was ancient. But yeah, paying to watch a trailer is crazy. That shows you how intense demand was for that thing. And sure, it wasn't received all that well, but it made a shit ton of cash. And that's what's the most important thing. Then you got episode 2, which was successful, but no one really likes it. Then you got episode 3, which did way better than 2. But I'll talk about that movie specific box office later on. And then you got the sequel trilogy. Yeah, Force Awakens making $2 billion. I mean, it's still the biggest movie ever domestically. Rogue One $1 billion, Last Jedi 1.3 billion, Rise of Skywalker, despite how trash it is, 1 billion. And sure, that doesn't mean Star Wars movies, they're all successful. Solo was an infamous flop. And the Clone Wars show, well, that gets a pass because that's just, I mean, it was basically just like an advertisement for the show that was coming up. And it was like hella cheap. But you still feel like it could have done better. I didn't even mention like other Star Wars, but like, the Star Wars Holiday Special, that iconic disaster. But yeah, Star Wars is big, bigger than big. It was the biggest franchise out there until the MCU took over. But yeah, Star Wars as a brand is still very strong, even though it's off its peak. It's still strong. So I will label that as a pro. Another pro, Revenge of the Sith itself. So one would think, after Attack of the Clones and its lackluster reception, people wouldn't be too enthused to watch the end of the prequel trilogy. People, it's just been like nonstop disappointment up to this point. But Revenge of the Sith was different because this one is the most crucial out of the three prequels because this is when Anakin becomes Darth Vader. This is when like he succumbs to the darkness and he becomes one of the most iconic villains in all of fiction. And so yeah, that's what everyone was like hyped for like back in '05. and that hype resulted in big numbers, huge numbers actually. Even today, like when you look at it, I had opened 50 million on a Thursday. 50 million. That's a record that is yet to be broken because it opened on, well, it had Wednesday night like midnight showings, but yeah, 50 million on a Thursday. Just a regular ass Thursday. That's crazy. They ended up making 108 million for the weekend. So it made like 158 million for 4 days, which was a record at the time. For its 3-day weekend, I believe it was the second best behind the original Spider-Man. It ended up making over, well, its original run was like 380 million domestically, so above Attack of the Clones, below Phantom Menace. But domestically, it was the biggest hit of 2005. Worldwide, I think it was beaten by Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. But still, strong numbers, huge numbers for this movie. You could definitely say the prequel trilogy ended on a high note, not just financially, but also critically, because this is considered to be the best prequel movie. Some say the only good prequel movie. Um, you know, because it's just higher quality compared to the other two. So, yeah. So, Revenge of the Sith's reputation and its success back in the day, I will label both of those things as a big pro. So, yeah. And another pro I could think of is that this movie had like previews. And the previews, considering this is like a 20-year-old movie, it had really strong preview numbers. I'm about to show you here 3.4 million. And keep in mind, this movie wasn't like advertised all that much. Apparently, it was only like in theater advertisements. It wasn't like online because I didn't see nothing online. So, yeah, 3.4 million. I mean, that overtakes The Accountant 2 and Until Dawn. And I was like, oh, okay, this might actually, pop off this weekend. This movie might actually do really well. I mean, comparison, like the Phantom Menace re-release last year. I gotta find it. I gotta go through. Oh no, not Attack of the Clones. I find it real funny that Phantom Menace has gotten re-released twice. Revenge of the Sith got re-released, but Attack of the Clones is yet to get re-released, probably because they know damn well no one wants to watch that movie again. But yeah, Phantom Menace last year. Gotta scroll. So sorry about the constant movement on the screen. I didn't have previews, but I mean, its Friday was like 2.4 million. So Revenge of the Sith previews were bigger than Phantom Menace's like re-releases opening day. Like that says a lot right there. Like that's huge. And especially huge compared to like a lot of re-releases that have come out recently. I mean, that preview number is bigger than most of their opening weekends. So, yeah. Yeah, preview wise, this movie's doing excellent. So I'll label that as a pro. Uh Another pro is that this movie's only going to be out for like apparently 1 week, a 1 week engagement. And when that happens, that tends to like drive up demand to go see it. So that might result in like a higher than expected like Friday number or a weekend number, which is what, just about early numbers I've seen. That's what we're seeing right now. So yeah, that 1 week only like type of demand, I would label that as a pro. Um, any other pros? I mean, there's no direct competition really for this. I mean, you got Sinners, but that's in its own league. You got Accountant 2, that's in its own league. You got Until Dawn, which no one really cares about. Minecraft, that's in its own league. So there's like nothing like this. It's nothing like Revenge of the Sith that's out there. So lack of direct competition is a pro too. I think that's it with pros. Okay. What? Oh yeah, forgot to mention. even though Star Wars has been like hella rocky the last like 10 years, right now, at this point in time, things are going good for the Star Wars brand. I mean, you have Revenge of the Sith being re released, doing well, but you also have Andor season 2, coming out, which has been like highly acclaimed and has a lot of, and Andor as a show, has been highly acclaimed, way more than any other Star Wars show we've gotten. Even Mandalorian fell off, but Andor just refuses to do so. So yeah, having Andor season 2 come out right when Revenge of the Sith is getting released, it's like perfect in a way, and it makes all the sense in the world because Andor is basically, tied to, well, it takes place like in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So having these two like together, it makes all the sense in the world to me. So yeah, having this release alongside Andor season 2, I will label that as a pro. In terms of cons, I mentioned Star Wars being off its peak. I might as well mention it again. Yeah, things have not been great for this brand ever since like Disney bought it. It's been like shaky as hell. I mean, it started out really good with Force Awakens and Rogue One, but then Last Jedi happened and people, a lot of fans got like hella mad about a lot of the creative decisions in it, and it caused like this online vitriol like, against the brand, and it's permeated for like ever since. And Solo was a huge flop. Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion, but nobody likes that movie. Movie was ass. Yeah, it was one of the rare times I watched a movie where I actually wanted to go home before it was over. That's how bad it was. And then like the Disney Plus shows. I mean, Mandalorian started strong from seasons 1, 2, and then season 3 it fell off. And then you got Book of Boba Fett. Nobody really liked that. Kenobi was considered a huge disappointment. Ahsoka, people are just like, about, from what I remember. Acolyte, we don't need to discuss that. That's been discussed enough on the internet. Andor has basically been the only show that's been, well received across the board. Well, I guess there's Skeleton Crew. That's done okay. But yeah, Star Wars has seen better days. It has. But we're getting some Star Wars movies in the next few years. There's Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm not sure how to say that name. That's next year. And then you got Star Wars, I think it's Starfighter with like Ryan Gosling. That's like in 2027. I'm not sure how that'll do. But yeah, Star Wars, it's seen better days. That's all I can say. So I'll label that as a con. But that's not hurting the Revenge of the Sith re-release, not at all. But it's just something I have to note. And I know some people might ask, well, wait a minute, why isn't this coming out, like next week? May 4th is like Star Wars Day, right? Like, wouldn't that make sense? Well, Thunderbolts is coming out next week, and I imagine Disney doesn't want any friendly fire going on. So that's probably why they released it this weekend instead of next weekend, which makes sense from like a logical perspective. So yeah, I have to note that as well. But yeah, anywho, opening weekend, from the early numbers I remember seeing, I've seen this hitting like 18 to 20 million for the 3-day. I'm just gonna go with 20 million. And it's total, I mean, if it's a 1 week engagement, it might, some theaters might have it go past that, but it won't make a whole lot more than 20 after that. So less than 30. That's what I'm going to go with. Less than 30 million total for Revenge of the Sith. And that's it. So we got one more movie to discuss, and it is Until Dawn. And then that's it for the weekend. So yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? I got a playlist on the homepage. You want to watch any of the prediction videos I made this year, the past few years? Want to watch any of them? Go right ahead. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. April recap, that'll be like around the second weekend of March. So, oh my god, May, second weekend of May. So stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, specifically my March recap I just did not too long ago, you want to watch that, go right ahead. There's also the canceled series. I went over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Never talked about the Revenge of the Sith re-release, but I made 250 episodes, so if you want to binge watch that whole series from beginning to end, I highly suggest you do that, so go do it. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.